What is happening, people? Gareth here, Fresh Movement Live, and it has been a long time coming. We know you guys have been asking for us to go live, and we have. And we've been waiting for so long because me and Liam wanted it to be something that meant a lot to us, and more importantly, means a lot to you. Because every time we go live, we're going to add value, we're going to make you guys think and question in a new different way, and we're going to build you guys up, whether that be from a design point of view, content marketing, or branding. Now today, me and Liam have had the opportunity to be in the company of all these beautiful people that you can see behind me. And what we've been doing is taking part in a masterclass by Martin Neumeier and Andy Starr, and also with the help of Matt Davis as well, who we have got on this stream. But before we bring him on, we've got two other guests which I want to introduce to you, and also ask them about their experiences, what they do, and let's find out if we uncover anything else as well. So first up, we have our first guest, which is Abi. Abi, please come in.
Hello, how are you doing? Hi, great to be here.
I'm great. It's really warm in here tonight, and I've just done like a big march on the spot, and I'm regretting it now. But
You're kind of, yeah, it is warm, and I think maybe the wine as well, and the lovely food, the company, yeah, it's all good.
super pumped, as some people say. So Abi, before we get going, can you just introduce yourself to the guys who are watching, let them know what you do and why you've decided to come here this evening?
So I'm a designer. I have a little design studio down on the south coast. I tend to work more with outdoor lifestyle brands. I'm trying to move my business to a little bit more of a consultative pivot, if you like. So not just doing the design, but also helping businesses grow. That's why I'm here today, to learn strategy from one of the masters of brand strategy, which is Martin Neumeier. So yeah.
Martin Neumeier is one of the masters, probably the master. I've been calling him Brand God. Hashtag Brand God. You got it here first.
TM.
Yeah. So your business,
Yep.
freelancer?
I am a freelancer, yes. I have a little design studio, so I do brand identity design, logo design, pretty much focused in that area. Yeah.
Cool. And obviously today we've been through day 1 of 2.
Yes.
It's been very testing for everyone.
It's been good.
For the guys who are watching who may not know about the larger picture, which is brand,
Yes.
how would you just kind of explain that to somebody who doesn't know what brand is?
Okay, so brand is, if you're going to put it into the words of Marty or some of the things, it's kind of people's gut feeling about you. So it's not just your logo, it's not just kind of your brand colours, it's not just your products or anything else. It's the gut feeling people get when they think about your business and what you do. So it's why you might choose to buy a BMW over a Skoda, for example. It's not necessarily that the car is a different car or a better car. It's the feeling that you get and the kind of identity you get from owning something like that. So it's a bit of a sum up there.
It's done perfectly. It's done really well. You're going to be passing your test. I can tell that now. So we're all here to learn about brands. I suppose if you go back and you're a certified brand specialist, what would that mean to you personally?
I think it gives me the confidence that what I'm talking about with clients is kind of the right way of doing things, how I'm approaching it. I think it gives clients a confidence in you as well because they see a certification from somebody who's well known in the industry. So I think that certification gives somebody else the confidence in yourself. But for me, yeah, it's to kind of consolidate what I know and do already and make it just that bit better and give it that bit of a polish. So yeah, it's going to mean, I think it's going to try and pivot a little bit with the business, which is really good. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's kind of that seal of approval from somebody who's walked the walk for so many years.
Absolutely, and I think it's the seal, not only for myself, but for other people looking in who might want to work with me in the future, is having that kind of, that official stamp that, yeah, she knows what she's talking about, she can help us, she can, help us achieve our goals and things. So.
She's at pasta with Marty.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it.
So finally, what advice would you give if, let's say there's somebody who's looking to maybe get into the design space or get into marketing or branding, which I always kind of group together as like a little bit of a family. is there any little tips or advice that you could give as a professional for somebody who's aspiring to do something like that?
I would say just do it. Just find, if you can't afford to go to uni, you don't need to. Just find there are tutorials online. There are, there's places like The Future that do kind of these online tutorials. There's other logo courses you can take. Do it, practice, get a copy of Illustrator, just do design stuff. You don't have to be earning money from it straight away, but you do need to be practicing, and just because that's the only way you learn is to keep practicing kind of what you want to do. And as you start growing, put your work out there, and it will happen. It really will.
Excellent. And if anyone wants to, inquire about your services or get in touch, how can they find you on the big wide world?
So they can find me on LinkedIn. It's Abi Lemmon. You can find me on Instagram at the Abi Lemmon, or my website, which is brandpharmacy.co.
Cool. And what we'll do is any of the guys who are watching and want to get in touch, we'll try and put that in the comments so it's easier.
Yep, and anyone wants to get in touch if they want to get into design and they're inquiring about what I did or anything else, feel free, just reach out.
Abby, thank you so
cool.
much. Thank you for it. Thank you. Next up, we've got another guest. It's Ian. Ian, how's it going, mate?
Hey everyone.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too, and everyone watching.
So, Ian, we've been having... You're sitting next to me. You've had the benefit of sitting next to me, so sorry about that.
No worries. It's been fun.
And we've been chatting today, and the thing that has really struck a chord with me is you are the guy, you are the logo geek.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about logo design, so what I've done as part of my journey is rather than just work on logos only, I've built a community around it and also a podcast, and that just allows me to learn from other people in the audience, but also give back as well. So it's really helping me to learn, and other people are learning in the process as well. So it's been great fun.
And we had a bit of a moment, didn't we, earlier? I was chatting to Ian and we was talking about going live tonight, and he was like, well, I can share this out because I'm the logo geek. And I was like, what do you mean? I follow you guys, I watch your content, I think it's great. And what you've built is a fan in me. We talk about fans an awful lot at Fresh Movement, that's what we believe in. In your words, building a community, what is the biggest importance of that for you, for building a community?
I would say for me, it's been really integral to my success with Logo Geek, because it really started out as a hobby, but because I started sharing out content I would find online, and share all that information with my audience, but also share everything I'm doing. At the beginning, it gave me a sense of commitment to my audience, and I wanted to keep sharing with them. So whilst I originally started focusing primarily on Twitter, and it was about 2 years ago I started working on a Facebook group as well, and it's just grown beyond anything I ever imagined. And for me, what that's done for me is created an amazing platform where I can share things that I'm working on, so things like podcast interviews is relevant to the audience, and in order to give me the time to do that, I've been able to get a sponsor for that as well. So sponsors are paying me to interview my idols, like Martin Umeyer today, who I interviewed just over a year ago. That's been one of the main advantages, but I'm always in there. I'm giving back to people, I'm giving feedback and sharing my thoughts and opinions, and trying to help people, which is helping me as well, it's perfecting my skills. But there's a lot of people in the community now that are very experienced, and I read through their comments, and I'm learning so much from everybody in the group, and it's not just me getting that information. Everybody is learning from everybody, and it's an honor to be able to create that platform, not just for me but for the whole community as well. So
yeah, it's really good. I mean, you've touched on a few things there. I think the thing that I love the most is how humble you are. You've created this community out of something that was a passion, and then that passion has come across so authentically that it's then self-perpetuated itself. So the more you give in, the more you get back. Is that fair? comment?
Yeah, I think so. I do think I need to be really intentional about my actions, because anything like with building a community, I see a lot of graphic designers now spending a lot of time on Instagram or on Facebook without any direct intention. So they might be building up a following of like hundreds of thousands, but does it actually bring any value to them? There are graphic designers targeting other graphic designers and then wondering why they don't have any clients. But for me, that because I'm building something like a podcast that is generating an income, for me to target other graphic designers in the way that I am, it's of value to me and benefit to me, because I feel it's intentional actions. But I guess to summarize, when you are using things like social media, you do need to know why you're doing it and what your overall plan is ongoing. So, if you're looking for clients, create content for your potential audience, and then you'll have success from social.
That's it. And if someone was watching now and they were thinking, I want to build a community, I've got something I'm really passionate about, what would be your top tips or bit of advice that you could give someone who's interested in creating a community that does something similar to what you've created?
Yeah, sure. So with social media now, you can go onto any platform and easily find people that are interested in any topic. So for example, you could go onto Twitter, search a keyword, and you can see people that are posting content and people that are liking, sharing, retweeting, and so on. If every single day you spoke to one of those people, you can make friends with that one person. Do that every single day for years. You're going to have a large following of people that know you, like you, and trust you. And if you're authentic with that friendship as well, then it will grow. So share. You want to share information that's relevant to your audience, and just keep doing it. Don't give up. Do it every single day. And like I said, connect with people, speak with people. It's all about one-to-one relationships at the end of the day, but that ultimately scales as you do it, year on year.
Mate, we could chat for hours. Would you come back on for another chat maybe in the future?
Yeah, anytime.
Legend. And if people need to get in touch with you, if people want to find out, obviously, there's the obvious ones, but just give them more. Where's the best places to find you?
So the easiest thing is to do a Google search for Logo Geek, but you can find me on my website. You can find my podcast on there. I've got a Facebook group. I've got pages on Facebook, got Twitter, pretty much anywhere online. Just search for Logo Geek and hopefully you'll find me.
Logo Geek, mate. I'm a fan. You should be a fan. Go and check him out. What a legend. Thank you so much, mate. See you in a bit. Right, guys, one last guest, and it's Matt Davis, who has been helping out here today on the course, and he was also a previous delegate at the other events that were on the previous level C. But before we do that, if any of you can give us a hand out, give this stream a like, get in the comments and ask us some questions that we can answer later, and bash that share button, because we always say sharing is caring. And as we just heard from Ian, providing people with that value is our number one goal. So get this far and wide, because we want to make a fresh movement across the UK tonight. So let's bring him on. Matt, nice to see you, mate.
Good to meet you. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Mate, thanks for coming on. So let's just track back a little bit. I found you on LinkedIn not so long ago, and you gave me the advice to come here, and that's how I ended up here. And it was from the content that you created on LinkedIn that drew me into messaging you. So, first of all, thank you. And secondly, can you introduce yourself to the guys in a better way than I've just done?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Matt Davies. I'm I guess I'm a fully now brand strategist, so fully into that area, coming from a graphic design and agency, and even I was actually worked at a corporate for a while in the creative capacity as a manager. So I've had a bit of a weird journey, but I've ended up on my own as a solo consultant in the strategy space, and Marty's work's been super influential on me to get me where I am today. So yeah. So I guess the sales pitch is I help leadership teams align, become more meaningful and stand out.
Good stuff. And over the last day or so, obviously I've seen you working with the guys and adding value. You've worked with Marty now for a couple of things on a few different occasions. What's that relationship like for you? Like, did you discover Marty through his books and then meet him, or did you meet him and then discover his books? How did that work out?
Sure. So I used to run an agency many years ago, right? So I won't go into all that. However, when I was running this agency, I was the creative director of the agency. And I could see coming, and I'm probably going to offend loads of designers out here, but I'm going to say it anyway, right? That design had slowly started to become commoditized, right? Like, my clients thought they were designers. They all had desktop processors, and they all thought they could design, right? And obviously, we all know that's not the case. But the problem is, it's becoming harder and harder to sell design. But I found I had this little special magic power, which was in workshops and helping people think outside of the immediate brief they were giving me. So from there, I kind of realized, well, I need to get into this. What is this thing? And it was strategy, really. That's what it was. And obviously, that road had not been trodden by very many people. Coming from a design background into more of a business space that was helpful for businesses. But Marty had. And so in my research, I came across Marty's books and his definition, which I think someone mentioned earlier, of a brand is a gut feeling. And I was like, this is it. This is what I'm doing. And I started reading. I'm a proper fanboy, so I read like all his books. And I reached out to him, and I had a couple of projects on, and I reached out to him, some years ago. And he's such a lovely guy, and he was gracious enough to get back to me, and we started to chat a little bit. And he helped me out on a couple of things. And then the years sort of went by, and we kept in touch. And then he sent me a message. He said, "Matt, I'm launching this new book. It's revolutionary. Like, no one's ever done this before. It's going to be a business thriller." And I was like, what? So he was like, and I'm looking for a few people that I know like my work that could maybe help me out proofread this and just give me some thoughts. So I was like, mate, I'm in. If I can help you, you've helped me so much in my career. If I can give you a little bit back, that'd be so cool. So I was privileged enough to proof that and to give Marty my thoughts, and even just, I'm not going to take any credit whatsoever, but a few of my thoughts found their way into the book. And so if you look at the back of Scramble, which is what the book became, like, you'll find my name there. So that was that. And then in my kind of weird career path, I've sort of kept in touch with Marty, and I got him in and helped, basically at Capital One, we were looking at our brand, and so we needed a speaker, and I was like, mate, I've got this. So I got Marty over, and I helped connect him a few times, and we've done a couple of little projects together. And so basically what happened was I'm just busily working away in my own kind of sort of space with my consultancy stuff, and the other week Andy said, look, do you fancy coming helping us out in London? We've got a load of great people coming down. Would you like to be involved? And I was like, yeah. So I'm kind of here as a volunteer, a fanboy, but also, to kind of help really spread the word and spread the message of Level C and get brand out there and up there in businesses, and to help designers like me change to that new strategic sort of way of thinking. So yeah.
Mate, that's powerful stuff, and I think the thing that I find so powerful about that is it was your fandom of Marty which drove you on that pursuit, and it's the exact same reason I'm here as well. And it's the strength of, if you make that connection with someone, they will pursue it. And if you provide them with stuff like a course to go to, some social content like you've done with me, like the social I've seen on LinkedIn in your book, it's about that connection. And the more people that connect who are like-minded, like have today, the wider it's going to get as well. Because I think that's where brand needs to get, isn't it?
Well, for sure. I mean, the truth is that for far too long, this is my little emotional plea now, but for far too long, right, I think brand has been perceived as a logo, a set of fonts and some colors, right? And the truth is that's not actually that helpful from a business perspective. You've got to look wider, you've got to zoom out, you've got to see the customer, you've got to see your purpose, you've got to figure out your place in the world, why anyone should care, who you're serving, why it matters, and to innovate, not just in the creative, I call it the veneer at the end, not just a veneer, but in the actual essence of the business. Got to get it up into the boardrooms. And I think that's what Marty's trying to do with these courses and with his work, and when I ever look at someone and think, right, I want to be the best, right? So if you want to be the best, you've got to learn from the best. Yep. So if anyone's thinking about Level C course, Marty's not paying me anything at all, but I would say get on it, experience it. For me, there were a few kind of key things that I got from the first time we did this in London. Well, Marty did it in London. The first was connections, right? You meet some great people who think the same. So, for example, if I need a copywriter, I can go to a copywriter who I know thinks through brand like Level C, Train You to Think. Hugely saves so much time messing around. Second thing is you get validation. So the certificate at the end, I've found super helpful. Like, it helped me win more business. It helped me. I actually won some awards. I've recently been kind of got some really big client wins to do some really cool stuff. Thank you. Yeah, and I put that down to the credibility that the Level C certificate kind of brings. And then finally, of course, you learn cool stuff on the actual course itself, which you would have thought would have been the main thing, but really the other two things are pretty major. And for me, I'd already read Marty's stuff, so I was kind of aware of a lot of the stuff, but just those other two things just really helped to kind of seal it for me. So that's it.
Yeah, and I think from my take as well, just collaborating with so many people who are coming from different walks of life, different positions. With CEOs, we've got people who run their own agencies, we've got people who work in design who are trying to move around, we've got people who are ex-trainers at corporates who are now setting up. That collaboration piece and that melting pot for ideas is the one thing that I think I've took away from today. And we've got tomorrow as well to experience it.
We sure have, yeah. I think collaboration brings alignment, and I think that's what Marty's work does. If you do it right, it brings multidisciplined people, and it gets them in the same space, mental space, and it pushes them in the same direction. And alignment is the biggest challenge for business today because there's so much noise. Like, why are we actually here? So that is so valuable. And of course, design and stuff all helps with that, but the strategic piece is the king of that. And I think Marty's got it down to a T. So, yeah.
Cool. We're going to wrap it up now. Just before we do, if someone is watching now and maybe not the trying to restructure a brand, but maybe if they take a think about their personal brand, is there a number one tip that you can give anyone if it's a personal brand or a brand they're working on, like to really make that connection with their audience? What's that number one tip, the one thing that they can do?
So from me personally, so I do a lot of storytelling stuff, which I marry a lot with Marty's thinking. So the way I look at it is you've got to look at yourself like you're a character in your customer's story. So that says a lot. That says you need to understand your customer, who they are, because you can't serve everybody. You're here to serve a specific type of person. You need to understand what their need is, their desire is, what their want is. Then you've got to figure out the part that you play in that. And so that would be my tip. Figure out what character you play in your customer's story. Perfect. Boom.
Matt, we're going to get you back on a podcast. We've already done this handshake, but we're going to get it again. That's a promise, guys. And we're going to do a full deep dive into that because the story thing is something that we're passionate about as well. And I think there's a lot more we can go into. Before you leave, what's the easiest way for the guys to get in contact if they want to?
Okay, so LinkedIn is Matt Davies, right? And I've got a little lightning bolt after my name, so definitely I'm most active on that. But Twitter and Instagram is Mr. Matt Davies, and my website is mrmattdavies.me. Finally, I have a book if you're interested in the storytelling thing, and it's called Storyatogy, and it's a 6-step process to build a story-based branding strategy. You'll find Marty quoted heavily throughout, so enjoy.
Yeah, so if the guys want a zero friction experience, just say, Alexa, order Storyatogy by Matt Davis now. Sorry guys, I've just done that. You've got loads more sales.
Mate, that's awesome. Thank you very much.
So sorry, I had to do that. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this stream. I have had a really good time speaking to these guys. I hope it's brought you value. Every single time Fresh Movement goes live, it is to provide you with insights, education, and different ideas from all walks of life, but really focusing on brand, marketing, digital, and also fans. Remember, keep it real, keep it authentic, and keep it fresh. I've been Gareth. This has been Fresh Movement Live. See you again.